welcome everyone to this new episode of TNG. We have Joanne Lam,
Hello.
a Reiki practitioner as well. And so we have her here to talk about the sacred and wonderful art, the healing art of Reiki. So, Joanne, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit about who you are and how you got into Reiki.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. My name is Joanne, and I kind of control the Theta Room, which is a little company or slash a little organization that I came up with last year, and it's all about just lifestyle wellness and specialized in Reiki. And it's really interesting when people ask me when I got into Reiki or how I got into Reiki because it was a very impromptu decision. I kind of came back from a solo trip out east of Canada, and the idea of Reiki was so foreign to me. But for some reason, I just felt like I needed to get my license and start working on the craft and working on the art. And I never really thought much about it, but yeah, I got it ever since, and I've been doing Reiki and healing people. And even way before then, even as a child, I felt like the art was so natural to me. I would just put my hands over my grandmother or my parents, and just like I was a very sensitive person, and as you can say, some people would say it's like an empath thing. So I could just feel energy really easily, and I never knew what it was until I discovered Reiki. And yeah, so I just did a bit more research into the art, and turns out it's a beautiful thing that a lot of people know about. And yeah, it's been great ever since.
Excellent. So, you're in Canada?
Yes, I am in Canada.
Excellent. What part of Canada are you in?
So I am in Ontario, close to Toronto, the famous Toronto where, Drake is and where the weekend came from that we all love to listen to. Yeah.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit about what Reiki means to you, what it means to you in terms of literally what you feel it does is for the world, and also at a personal level, what it's done for you personally in your life.
Yeah, so Reiki to me, I mean, I think to everyone it means something a little different, but to all practitioners, I think it's just understanding that love is all around us. And I think that before I knew about Reiki, I was kind of in this phase of my life where I was kind of depressed and not really seeing light or love in anything at all. There was no purpose in anything that I did, especially to my day to day. So when I discovered Reiki, it was something that was just so natural and so universal to everyone. And that's the one thing that we can all collectively connect on is just light and love. And that's what we all want, right? It's just to be loved naturally as human beings. And this type of art allows us to transmit that type of art. And for me, I've always been the type of person to really want to listen and hear other people's thoughts and what's going on in their lives. And when people say, hey, when you heal people, do you collect their energy and doesn't it drain you, kind of? I think that it's really important for practitioners to kind of do like a ceremony beforehand to ensure that there's protective energy here so that you don't claim other people's energy. And so when I heal people, I heal myself. And I think it's a meditation of some sort. And I like to always say thank you for letting me heal you because at the same time, it healed me. So yeah, that's kind of just what it is.
Mm.
Are you like the same way?
Beautiful. Yeah. I feel very similarly about that in the fact that one of my great teachers uh, in massage therapy school, he would say that everyone that comes to you is an aspect and a reflection of yourself, whether that's your present life self or maybe a past life version of yourself, some sort of emotional, spiritual pattern of energy that's presenting him or herself or them as a being in your life. And how often do we have somebody that comes into our life that is asking for guidance or healing that
Mm-hmm.
reflects something back to us? that we're working on or we have mastered already and we're ready to impart onto others. So I feel the same. I feel that we're all one. I feel that Reiki is a very powerful art, and it's foundationally just talking about light. It's talking about universal energy. Reiki, universal light, universal energy. So we're working with something so expansive but so foundational. So it's foundational to all life on the planet, but it's universal to all life being on this planet. So we have this very, very powerful force that just activating and claiming and uniting with that force helps us to remember who we are and helps us to clarify. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but Reiki has every part of my life that skill wise or on a personal level, it's amplified. So it's it's really like can amplify everything. So from your friendships to your romantic life to your connection with nature, everything that you impart energy into amplifies with Reiki.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way as well?
I absolutely do. I mean, beforehand, my relationships or just friendships of any kind with anyone in my life was so it's kind of surface level. I mean, we would have deep conversations, of course, but ever since, I started practicing Reiki, um, the energy has just been so different. I feel like there's been a shift of some sort. Like I can kind of resonate more. I can kind of dig deeper into these types of conversations that I will have with people in my life. And I think that, as we all know, energy is contagious. When you are sad or when you're happy, other people can feel it. And same way, vice versa, around when you're with other people. And the thing with Reiki is like, it's a universal energy. And so as a Reiki healer, I think that we got that type of attunement to feel these energies more sensitively. And so just having these, like, I think that every bond with every person in my life has been significantly amplified. The love is just so much more present, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. And I don't think I can say that if I didn't know what Reiki was. And that's why every single time, I don't market myself out there at all. I really don't. The way that other practitioners would. I don't really, do paid advertising for my services or anything like that because, first of all, I am also very busy outside with my, personal life and my other work. And so I don't really even have time to do these distance reikis, these intuitive readings for other people, but somehow they just find me. And it's really interesting because it's like, how did you even find me? I'm only on Instagram and TikTok, and I don't really post that much. And somehow I get traffic and people coming to me asking questions about, what's going on with their life and trying to get advice and guidance in certain things. And it makes me wonder, okay, because I am presenting myself as this person that's emitting so much positive energy and so much love, is that why people gravitate towards me? I always ask myself that question.
I feel like there's a few different answers to that question, and one of them is that we're all connected. So in a superficial level, and most of society operates at a superficial level because superficial is profitable, superficial is unquestionable. You don't question deeper as to why you're buying certain things in terms of capitalism, all this stuff
Yeah.
that's programmed into us. But at a metaphysical level, you go to something that happened during the ancient times. So during the ancient times, you didn't call people up on the phone, you didn't text them, you didn't email them, you connected from your energy. So you said, okay, I'll meet you here at sundown or whatever. But there's more metaphysical timing at play. there's more intermingling of energies to actually meet that person at that specific time. So there's a timelessness. So people are connecting to you, and it's the same way with my practice and so many people that work in this metaphysical field is people are finding you at a soul level, at an energy level. They're not finding you physically. They're being led to you, just like we were led to Reiki. I found Reiki by accident. And like think thank the universe, think all the energies of the universe, the forces of the universe that happened because life has improved so drastically since then. Accidentally finding Reiki.
How did
I
you
went to
accidentally
I was
find
at like
Reiki?
bottom, and I just had this strong intuition, just as I was talking about before with you, is that like that strong intuition to be led somewhere to somebody. And I just had this strong intuition to go into town, my hometown, and go get an amethyst crystal.
Oh wow.
And I didn't have like a good spiritual community around me. There was one hand was very Christian and one hand was very atheist. So I'm in the middle and I don't really agree with either of them completely. But
Yeah.
I walked into town and I found my Reiki master's store that he worked at, and he looked at me and he's like, "You're a healer.
Oh wow.
You've been long overdue for training." And I started training with him, and he was like my Jedi master and my root guru, like really really powerful person. And that's a very long-winded answer to how people are connected to yourself and to anyone in which they benefit greatly. In Chinese culture, they have a term called yuan fan, and it means like destiny and good karma and good luck that you're creating together over many lifetimes. And my friend Francesco Garipoli, who I interviewed on another episode, taught me that. So yeah, there's this destiny that we're creating together, and then when we're on the same path, like you and I are on the same path with Reiki, that's something in which you can share intimately. You can be together and have deep conversations and walk the path together because you're on the same path. And I don't want to mistake what I said earlier about Reiki amplifies all your relationships. That is wholly positive.
Yes.
Some of it like amplified my negative relationships and they just exploded and they were like, ah. And then but what I've realized is that if you're not on the same path with somebody and you try communicating with them, it's going to be louder because you're way over here and they're way over there. It's not your path is better or my path is better. Your path is better or my path is better. It's no, it's just you can't hear them. Like when people say, "Oh, you're not hearing me," you can't hear them because you're not close. You're not on the same path. You can maybe like
Yeah.
recognize and empathize with somebody on a far off path. But if you're not walking the same path, it happens all the time. It could be your best friend, it could be someone that you don't even like. If you're not on the same path, the communication isn't there because you're not walking in the same path. And this is a very Taoist belief. Tao means the way. So very good way to not judge yourself or others is just I'm on my path and they're on their path. If we're walking together, we'll have a good time. But if you're on that path, good for you. Good luck on your path. You know what I mean?
Totally. And that's actually really interesting that you brought that up because I'm sure you've heard of this quote. It's people will understand you as much as they understand themselves. And that's
Mhm.
something I've looked very deep into, especially this year. And it's understanding that you can't force people to understand where you're coming from or what your insight is because they have yet to discover that within themselves. So I could totally, you can talk to person A that is, more healed on their journey, not saying they're better at all, versus someone else that is, barely started their healing journey and they're kind of stuck inside their head and they don't know what's going on. And if you bring those two people to have conversations together, you can tell there's a very different dynamic. And not saying not saying one is more negative than the other, but it's just interesting to see that type of relationship stand out. So you can't force people to understand you, and that also leads into the next point of like knowing when to let go of that energy, knowing when to let go of those people in your lives. And I'm sure we've all had really close friends throughout our lives, like best friends that we thought would last a lifetime, people that we thought that would come to our funerals, but now we are no longer in contact with them. And that's for a reason. And I think that a lot of my clients come to me and say, hey, how do I let go? How do I know it's time to let go? Why is this person not in my life anymore? You need to understand that these people are not in your life anymore because you guys are not on the same frequency. It's not personal, it's just energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and something my grandmother told me one time, my dad's mom, she said, it's also your path, not a straight line. Your paths are weaving in and out of people's lives.
Yeah.
And that was a really beautiful message and something that you can learn from an elder. And yeah, it just, there's times where you cross paths and there's times where you walk together along the same path, but that doesn't mean it's going to be forever. And that's what I feel like it's very hard to help people with their relationship attachments because people get so primal and very obsessive because our culture uh, really promotes like ownership of people and relationships. But it's hard to tell somebody, hey, this might be your soulmate or your lover or your friend now. But if you walk further along your path, you're going to drift apart. Maybe you'll drift back into each other's lives. People are obsessed with like, oh, this is my friend or my lover or whatever, and we're gonna walk together forever. It doesn't work like that. It You have to weave in and out. It's beautiful. It's art. It's like a story. It's like when you're watching a movie, all the main characters, they're not with each other all the time. In a book, same way. You got all these hip connected all the time and you try to force that, then you're going into the disharmony energy rather than the harmonious energy. The harmonious energy is like a dance or like you're playing music with your band. You're creating a symphony. You're not creating a solo egotistical journey where everything revolves around you. You're creating a symphony and you hit the drum cymbal when it's your turn to hit drum cymbal. You stroke the guitar when it's your turn to stroke the guitar. It's not like everyone's doing the same thing at the same time. Imagine just a song where all the instruments are playing the exact same thing every time, every song. It would be completely disharmonious. You have one person's playing their part, the other person's playing their part. Then there's silence and there's interplay. Then someone gets a solo and it's their time to shine. So yeah, I feel like when you have Reiki initiation, you have honored and accepted the universal forces. And when you have that, that's just the beginning. So I would like to know a little bit about your further studies on top of Reiki, because that's always the interesting part to me. It's like Reiki's the doorway or the portal in, but what do you supplement after to enhance that Reiki force?
Sorry, could you repeat that again?
So after your Reiki initiation, what fields of practice and study did you utilize to supplement that Reiki?
Sorry, it just keeps on cutting in and out. I can't really
Oh,
hear your.
that's okay.
Sorry.
Yes, I was just saying, following your Reiki initiation, your initial Reiki training, what other practices and other fields of study did you utilize to supplement your Reiki power?
Okay, great question. So, shortly after I learned about Reiki and getting my Reiki initiation and my attunement, I discovered tarot, and it was a fairly new concept to me. You know, the whole idea of divination and psychic and things like that. And I wouldn't consider myself to be a per se like quote unquote psychic person. I can't, you know, talk to the afterlife. I can't tell the future. I don't think I can do any of those things precisely. But the thing with tarot, and a lot of people don't understand the difference between tarot and psychic reading. So after I got my Reiki, I started to naturally get introduced to tarot. I was very drawn to the idea of tarot and the cards and where it came from and its history. And it comes back all the way from the Renaissance era, which is a very interesting time in our human history. Anyway, so I slowly started to get into tarot and learning about the cards and what they have to say. And when I tell you that every single time I do a reading, especially for myself, it's it's always on point, and it's kind of freaky too, because I would do a meditation beforehand, and I would do actually like a Reiki type of meditation to kind of call in the divine source and the messages and the light, to ensure that the reading I'm about to receive for myself is the utmost accurate. And I would get cards, specific cards in my meditation, and then surprise, those cards would come out during the reading, and it would always freak me out. I would say, oh my goodness, something is happening. Some energy is in this room right now. I don't know what it is, who is with me, but something is happening. And this will happen every single time. And so using tarot to kind of dive deeper into my intuitive powers, and I think that everyone has intuitive powers, you just need to practice it and learn how to harness it. And using that, it's been kind of freaky. I don't know if, like, do you have any experience with tarot or divination of any kind?
Well, yeah, that's my specialty. That's my specialty. That's what people come to me for the most. So, what I encourage people to do is continually listen to your heart for everything. But intuition, of New Age science, New Age spirituality focuses on the third eye of the mind, but the heart is where your power for healing is. The heart is where your power for intuition is. And if your heart's centered, you're going into your heart energy. That's where your intuitive power comes from. They did a study scientifically. They hooked up electrodes to the heart and to the brain, and they had it's a psychic test. So they had a picture on a computer screen that would be completely random, and it would be something that evokes an emotion in you. So it'd be like a sexy picture, or like a really cute picture, or a picture of nature, or a scary, disharmonious, weird picture. And the heart, judging based on its reactions, got it right 88% of the time. The brain got it right like 23% of the time. So that just shows you in your life with intuition, with mediumship, with tarot, with any sort of divination practice that you're doing, calling upon the divine forces to assist you with your path, clearing your path, walking your path, owning your path, is this dynamic of listening to your heart. We have all these really great cultural phrases that help us out, like don't overthink things, don't get stuck in your head. You're getting too witty. All these things are showing you, hey, you're using your analytical mind for something that is calling for your intuitive mind, which is heart. In Chinese medicine, your heart is your seat of consciousness. Your Xing Qi. So this is the energy that comes from your heart. Is intuitive. It's connective. It's magnetic. This is why love is all about your heart. It's like what means more to you, like all you my heart, like I'm feeling you in my heart, or I've been thinking about you. Like thinking about you is like, man, whatever. But like you've been on my heart, really. Like I'm feeling like deep love for you. It feels much better than hearing that to most people than thinking about you. Thinking about you is like whatever. Whatever. Brain's always thinking about random stuff.
Yeah. Um, no, everything you said was it's exactly how I feel with tarot and divination. And there's different types of divination, not just like tarot, but like, with pendulums. And I know a lot of other practitioners have different practices, but for me personally, tarot has always just spoke to me. Not, and also oracles as well. I think oracles are a great tool to kind of further enhance the analysis that you have for yourself or whoever you're reading for. And I think it's such a great way to step forward into the next part of anyone's spiritual journey. And there are people out there that say, oh, like, what's the point, well, what's the point of anything, right? Like, what's the point of seeing beauty outside? What's the point of understanding that the grass is green? It's like the most insignificant things that I find is the most significant. And I almost say that every single day to everyone that I come across. There's beauty in everything, and that's what Reiki is. There is beauty in everything. There is love and light in every single thing. I mean, this conversation, the way that the air feels right now, the tone of our voices, the connection that we're having with each other right now, it's very spiritual, and that's something that I wish a lot more people would understand, because if they did, they would get a better connection with themselves and their hearts and into their mind and together. I mean, I'm just speaking very broadly, and there's many different practices you can do to harness that energy. But if more people were to understand the connection between their heart and their mind, oh my goodness, I feel like this world would be so much more magical.
Hmm. Yeah, I really resonate with what you say about the connection part, because I remember there was times in my early life, maybe my teenage years, where I centered as a kid. Centered as a kid, poetry, and like, wow, this is a magnificent living being that has this sort of wonder to it, that it can take the air and purify, that it can take the sunlight and turn it into strength, and take the soil and the compost and turn it into a body. And that I remember as a kid, it was spiritual. And then I started taking science classes and having external influence in the family. Oh, he's not alive. Oh, trees can't talk. All this stuff. And then now realizing that my child was more heart centered, knew more about nature than most welcome to as a teenager, who convinced me otherwise. No, but now all of these studies are coming out that the trees do have electromagnetic fields, that through the mushrooms mycelial network, transferring information. And aspen trees, their roots are all connected, so it's actually an aspen forest, one giant organism.
Yeah.
Trees are the same being talking to itself and talking to you, talking to me. They're just not listening very well. That person. So that's where I think you really hit the nail on the head. Ricky's like, and they have this power of not just healing, but universal light that you're receiving from the stars, that you're receiving from your soul, that you're receiving from Mother Earth. You can give something other than money to the environment. You can hold a tree and give it your absolute love, and it grows better. They've proven this. You have like somebody like my friend Jack, who's like a plant genius. He'll go and sing to his plants, love his plants, give Reiki to his plants, he's also a Reiki practitioner. And like, you should see, he walks into the forest, all the plants start singing and dancing. Like, gentle breeze will come through. It's like something I don't know, a fantasy movie. He's just like he walks into nature and nature responds to him because he so deeply loves nature and the plants that there's just this reaction, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And it's something I strive to achieve, like in the ability to connect to plants in a way that is for the goal of this show. It's tea represents environment and herbology and the way we utilize plants in our everyday life. And she represents the universal energy. So that leads me to the next question. What kind of tea are you drinking, Tay?
I was just drinking a natural green tea. Green tea is my absolute fave. Whether if it's hot or cold, it's just always been my favorite. Also, like Earl Grey is also very high up there too. What about you?
I got some Earl Grey going on right now. I got it's in the trilogy GT's kombucha
I
bottle,
love
but
infused kombucha. I actually bought one
it's
yesterday
Earl
from
Grey.
Whole Foods. It's the blue one. It's a spirulina one. I don't know if you've tried
Ooh, yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
I always
Yeah, and kombucha is
finding kombucha that has less sugar because I feel like a lot of them have a lot of sugar. And I
yeah,
always
it's because in the fermentation process you need the sugar for the bacteria as well. So the kombucha mushroom needs the sugar to go and to feed on as it grows itself. So that's why it's actually that that's also my excuse for having a sugary soda like drink that's actually healthy for you. But again, you have all the probiotics that are coming into your gut. Like, no. Okay, so we got back online. But we are running out of time, so hitting that hour mark. So, Joanne, I would love for you to just tell us what's on your heart right now, and what's the most important thing you feel like people should know in practice, but also just in life practice.
What's on my heart right now? To lie, my heart is or heavy lately. I just want to be honest here. Yeah, but my heart has been heavy, and but when it comes down to it's just being empathetic and being able to get through this with love. I mean, love is the and it's just something that I try to practice utmost every single day with every interaction that I have with people on the street. I tell myself, okay, Joe, you're gonna do one good thing today, at least just one, whether it's giving a compliment to someone or being gentle with yourself, just do that one. And as long as you do, you're the next step forward. And I always suggest that type of practice. Yeah, that's what's on my heart.
Beautiful. Love that. You have that empathy. Uh, it makes you stronger. If you can feel all the pain of the world, you can feel all the love that the world's got to offer too. Thank you so much, Joanne, for joining. And thank you to everyone who watches and supports this channel. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Go support Joanne, support myself, and just get out there and connect, like Joanne said, at an empathy level with the world. Thank you again, Joanne, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope the rest of you guys have a great day.